Hello, everyone. I'm Amy Miller. I'm the Chief Business Officer for the LBJ School, and we're here today to talk with you about fellowship opportunities to help you fund your education at LBJ. Can we go to the first slide, please? Okay, we have three different types of student fellowships to help you while you're studying with us. The first ones are admissions fellowships. The second are current student fellowships. And the third are for students conducting their internship or policy apprenticeship. Admissions fellowships are awarded during the admissions process as part of the review of applications. As a result, no extra application is required. You're able to apply for all of the admissions awards via your one application to the LBJ school. Next slide, please. This is an overview of the estimated tuition costs for the school. For 12 credit hours of resident tuition, it's approximately $5,896 per semester. The total cost of the program for an MPATH or MGPS student is around $24,000. For a non-resident student, 12 credit hours during one semester cost approximately $11,332 for a total amount of around $45,000 for the program. Our DC concentration program is 18 months long. A portion of the program is done in Austin and a portion in Washington, DC. The cost for about the 25 hours that you would be taking in the Austin portion of the program for a resident student is around $12,000. For a non-resident, it's around $23,500. And then in the DC program, you're taking 10 hours each semester. So this includes a tuition and a fee associated with conducting the program in the Washington, D.C. area. The summer DC for residents is around $13,000. Fall DC for residents is approximately $14,000. For non-resident students, summer is approximately $17,000 and fall is approximately $19,000. As a result, the total cost of the DC concentration program is around $40,000 for resident students and around $9,500 for non-resident students. If you are a PhD student, and a student interested in the PhD program, the costs really vary based on the program you're involved in and the requirements of that degree. Dual degree students, there is a separate table of tuition for those programs. Again, it varies greatly depending on the program you're involved in. There are tables available online that outline the costs of these, the tuition for these programs. Next slide, please. This website, tuition.utexas.edu/rates/graduate, provides a little table that you can use and a slider to help estimate your tuition costs based on the fall and spring semester or summer semester. You'd simply select your residency status, the LBJ School of Public Affairs, and the number of hours you expect to take during the semester. You'll see the tuition rate on the right-hand side of the screen. For dual degree students, there is a set of links at the bottom of the page. Those will provide you with tables of tuition. You'll need to look up your specific program on those tables. Next slide, please. Some of our admissions awards include what are called out-of-state tuition waivers. So if a student is not a resident of the state of Texas, they are charged non-resident tuition. If you receive an academically competitive scholarship, which all of our admissions fellowships are, you may be eligible to receive an in-state tuition a waiver to in-state tuition. This slide shows you what will happen if you receive one of these waivers. So based on 12 hours worth of coursework, which would normally cost $11,332, you would receive an in-state tuition waiver, which would reduce the cost to resident tuition. That's $5,896 at the current rates. Next slide, please. Once you have come on board at the LBJ school, there are a few additional funding opportunities available to you. There's the Barbara Jordan Professional Development Fund. This fund provides up to $250 per year for students to help with professional development activities. This could include assistance with software that's required to complete research projects, business cards for when you go out and are looking for your job after you graduate, membership in professional societies. There are a wide variety of different expenses that these funds can help with. We have the Baines Report Fellowship Fund, which is associated with our Baines Report run out of our communications department. We have the Barbara Jordan Excellence Fund, which is for some specific types of activities, often things like providing testimony to Congress, very unusual opportunities that may arise. We have the Bollinger International Student Enrichment Fund, which helps international students gain cultural and educational experiences while they are studying at the LBJ school. There are the Brumley Next Generation Graduate Fellows. We also have the Terrell Blodgett Fellowship in Urban Management and Finance. That particular program is also associated with our internship fellowships, which we'll discuss in a moment. There are professional development funds available for travel by our doctoral students to present papers at conferences. These would be the OGS Professional Development Funds. We offer academic competitive scholarships and tuition waivers for students who may not have received an admissions fellowship when they arrived on campus. It is possible to apply to this program after you come to campus and receive a resident tuition waiver. This is dependent upon funding availability and the number of waivers available. And then we also have the Elspeth Rostow Memorial Graduate Fellowship. This is for students who are engaged in public activities that are leadership-based while they are studying at the LBJ school. You can find more information about these student fellowships online at our website by searching for fellowships. Next slide, please. So the third type of fellowship we have are internship and policy apprenticeship fellowships. These are to help you while you are conducting your required internship or policy apprenticeship. There are awards available to resident and non-resident students. The award amounts vary based on the location of your fellowship, the location of your internship and the budget you may have available and funding that you may be receiving from other sources. This is an example of some of the funding sources that we have available. The majority you are automatically eligible to be considered for once you complete your application for an internship fellowship. There are a few unique fellowships here. One is the Terrell Blodgett Fellowship for Government in Urban Management and Finance, which I mentioned a moment ago. That particular award provides funding towards the summer internship. It also provides a fall fellowship and funding for travel to attend certain conferences like TCMA and ICMA. We also have the Leventhal Fellowship for students interested in nuclear nonproliferation and studies related to weapons of mass destruction. The faculty member involved with that fellowship will assist you in locating a internship if needed. Next slide, please. One important thing to know is that the majority of our fellowships are available as a result of the generosity of donors and alumni. As a result, if you receive one of these fellowships, you will be required to provide an acknowledgement letter thanking the donors for making these these awards possible. There may be additional requirements depending on the funding source for your particular award. Next slide, please. In addition to fellowship opportunities, this page lists a few other opportunities that may help you while you're trying to fund your education. The first one is employment. There's information about academic employment available on the graduate school website. It explains some different types of employment available. One thing you should know is that teaching assistantships and graduate research assistantships may provide resident tuition dependent upon the number of hours that the student is employed and the duration of the employment. There may also be tuition benefits dependent upon the particular position and funding availability. There are opportunities for employment outside of UT as well. In addition, there are grants and loans that you could apply to. Those are handled through the University Office of Scholarships and Financial Aid at finaid.utexas.edu. You may also want to look into the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, and that information can be found available online at studentaid.ed.gov. Next slide, please. So that's the overview of our fellowships programs. I'd be happy to take a few questions if there's anyone that has them.
I have a question.
There sure are. Go for it, Tori.
I've got a question from our Instagram audience. Is there any way to have the GRE waived for admissions like other grad programs? Or are there any special cases in which the GRE is waived?
That would be a question for our admissions team.
Who happens to be here? Hello, I'm Gwen, and no, unfortunately, the GRE is a current requirement set by the University of Texas at Austin. While there are discussions about the merit of the test, at this time it is a requirement and it cannot be waived.
Thank you, Gwen.
I have a few questions, 3 to be exact, 4 to be exact. I have questions about the admissions fellowship. Is there a range for amount? If you receive one, will it apply to both years? What is the percentage of students who receive one, and what are the criteria for selecting students?
I am so sorry, Gwen. I'm afraid you were cutting out on me. Could I get that first question again, please?
Sure thing. The question is there a range for the amount? And if you receive one, will it apply to both years? And what is the percentage of students who receive one, and what are the criteria?
Okay, so the amounts vary widely, dependent upon available funds. So I can't really give you a specific dollar amount. They could be stipends in addition to tuition, or it could be, for example, $1,000 stipend award $1,000 award towards your tuition cost, and a resident tuition waiver. There are some awards that may be a stipend. So for example, and just for example, one might receive a $2,000 stipend to help towards living expenses and resident tuition. Again, it is very much dependent, and there's not a specific dollar amount. Regarding the percentage of students who receive offers of fellowships, it's generally between 33 and about 50%. And I'm sorry, what were the other 2 questions, please, Gwen?
They are, what is the criteria for selecting students?
Okay, the criteria are handled through the admissions process. So the evaluation occurs based on your application for admission and the strength of that application. We do take financial need into account Dependent upon the funding source, that is a requirement for some of the funding sources.
Great. And is it possible to be fully funded?
Again, it's very much dependent upon the availability of funds. Fully funded in terms of 100% of living expenses and 100% of tuition would be fairly rare, but it could be possible.
Great. Do graduate students who receive TAs, PRAs, and full-time campus employment receive tuition remission?
So TAs who are employed for 20 hours per week will receive a tuition reduction benefit to help towards the cost of their tuition. That dollar amount may vary for GRAs dependent upon the funding sources available to the employer.
Great. There's a question about where are teaching assistant and graduate research assistant positions advertised for students. Just so you guys know, there is an online platform called Hire a Longhorn where you can find that once you are a current student. And then how do you apply for teaching or research assistantship? Same thing through postings that you'll receive. You'll find directions. Is it possible to receive an application fee waiver for past public service in other circumstances, such as PPIA, AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, First Gen, etc.?
There are certain programs for which tuition waivers are available. For example, PPIA, but it is dependent upon the program. Please reach out if you're requesting a tuition waiver, and we'll be able to let you know if your specific program is eligible. And Tori had a question.
Yes, Gwen, this is probably more of a question for you. Is the DC program and the 2-year program, the regular MGPS program, equally as competitive in terms of admission?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, Gwen.
Mm-hmm. Another question, do admissions fellowships apply to both years?
So when admissions fellowship offers are made, they will be made, you'll be able to see the entire program and the amounts that are offered for each semester, as well as the type of award that you might receive. So for example, for a 2-year program, you would be able to see what is offered to you in the fall semester of your first year, spring semester of your first year, fall semester of your second year, and spring semester of your second year. All of that will be laid out for you.
Thank you. Another question, are there any types of financial assistance that pay for living expenses on or off campus?
So tuition, my understanding, please forgive me, Gwen, if I heard incorrectly. The question was whether there are any fellowships that support living expenses on or
Correct, on or off campus.
Okay, so some of our admissions awards do provide what are called stipends. Those stipends are available to students to use for whatever expenses they may choose. This could be put towards rent, it could be towards food, any of the expenses associated with your program, those funds would be available for if you are awarded a stipend fellowship.
Great, and that is all of the questions that I have thus far from students. Feel free if you're starting this webinar to type into the chat thing. I'm happy to send the questions on to Amy. Here we go. What attributes are you looking for in applications when considering awarding a scholarship? Academic achievement, years of service, etc. I know you sort of answered this, Amy, but maybe there's a way to be a little more specific.
Gwen, I am so sorry. I'm afraid that you're cutting out. My understanding is the question is what attributes are we looking for when making these awards?
Correct.
Okay, so they would be the same qualifications that the admissions committee is looking for in their evaluation of your application. Gwen, correct me if this is wrong, but my understanding is that we're looking for your past experience, what your future plans are. Gwen, are there other attributes that you're aware of?
I mean, I think that what you put into your statement of purpose is very important and will be weighed heavily. So as specific as you can be, the better.
Gwen, I've got a couple questions for you too, if that's okay.
Sure.
My first question is, do you know the average GRE score for both the MGPS program and the DC program?
I can, and actually, yes. So things to know is that, and I think that my connection must be really bad, and I apologize for that. The GRE is only one part of the application. We are going to review applicants holistically. So typically, our GRE test scores range between 65% quant, 80% verbal, and an average 4.0 to 4.5 rating.
Okay, great. And then my second question for you is, are the students who are accepted, are they the same or different in terms of their backgrounds, their profiles, their work experience, et cetera?
Well, that's an excellent question. And ultimately, the admissions committee is seeking a diverse cohort. So we have students with all different backgrounds, including but not limited to policy, public service. We even have some former artists who have joined us. So ultimately, your background is just something that will add to the diversity of the cohort. So no, there is not one particular background that we're looking for. We are, however, looking for students that we feel are going to thrive within the rigor of the program.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, Amy, we just have a few moments left. Is there anything you'd like to add about fellowships or resources?
So we do have our fellowships office available to students who are enrolled in the LBJ school and to prospective applicants. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us at lbjfellowships@austin.utexas.edu. We'll do our best to answer your question or to get you to the resources that can help you with funding your education.
Great. Thank you so much, Amy. Just as a reminder, we do have I will send a question about getting a copy of this presentation. It will be included in the webinar link on the website. I will also be hosting a graduate coordinator admissions webinar, so please and join us for that. Thank you, Amy, for everything. We appreciate your time and your input, and thank you all for joining us.
Thanks. Look forward to seeing you all in the fall.